we were going into the Australia game, I think pretty confident. Like the roller coaster of a day, it could be a book in itself. Like it was incredible. I've never had to deal with a day like that. But it was just everybody. So, okay. That's one of our values and one of our things about how we want to play is just say yes. So like, yes and. Okay, so here's the information. We mightn't play today. Yes and. What's next? Okay,
it's very improvisational. That's like
it's literally what we're doing. It's the first, we call it that at times on the rugby field we have to be improv. We have to be improv. Yes and it's not and it's the difference between responding versus reacting to things.
Jack Hanratty.
Welcome to US Rugby Happy Hour Live. Interviews with the biggest names in American rugby.
And Team USA make history in Paris. USA Rugby is heading to Australia.
Here are your hosts, Bill Baker and that other guy.
Hello and welcome to the show. I'm Bill Baker. This is the other guy, John Fitzpatrick, and he will be removed from the open soon because he's really mean to me about Major League Rugby teams. Yes. I'm a fan of the game first, Fitzy. I'm a fan of the game first.
Me too.
I want to see good rugby.
Yes.
And then I'm a Free Jacks fan second. But congratulations to Old Glory again for this week too and last week. Anyway, that has nothing to do with today's show. Just a minute, everybody. We have Jack Hanratty, the USA Women's head coach, joining us yet again. He came on just a couple months ago, and I think we got him when he just got off the plane into California, and then we got him now in the middle of his first biggest tournament with USA Eagles. I'm excited to talk about him too. Mm-hmm. Just Fitzy, I apologize. I didn't ask you how are you. How's it going?
Bill, I'm great. I'm really well. You know, nothing to complain about. Just my car breaking down. Other than that, we're good.
Well, I'm glad you made it. I know you, or if you can make it today, and I was going to get all like impatient and, and say I'm slightly selfish anyway. I want to do this by myself, but I'm not that kind of guy. But with that said, man, I think we should get to it. We've got plenty to talk about with our guest today. And as usual, the theme of his introduction song has to do with Kansas City and Chicago type music. You know what type of music that is, Fitzy?
Blues?
Blues, baby.
Yeah, baby.
Get out your cigar. Here we go.
Forging the path.
Oh, yeah.
Under Friday night lights. A new chapter has started. Put on your shades. The future is bright. In Kansas City, the Eagles took Australia by storm. Wallaroos down, that statement victory was felt the world around. The plan is in motion, the velocity is high. Eagles on the rise, reaching for the sky. Let's welcome back head coach Jack Hanratty.
There he is. Break it down, Jack.
Can I borrow that for jersey presentation on Friday or Thursday?
Do it. I will send it to you.
I might just edit the. I don't want it as my walk-up tune. I might just stop it just before my name is mentioned. I think the ego might be.
Let's welcome. Yeah, and just voice in like one of your players' names, just totally different sounding. Yeah. Jack, how are you? Welcome back to the show.
Thank you. It's nice to do the call from the United States. I think I was in Ireland actually when I was on before. So it's nice.
I think so. Yeah.
It's nice to be situated in the land that we are developing.
Absolutely. And by the way, quickly, listeners, it's very important to know about Jack. When I was trying to get him back on the show, I was handed this rider, this information, his minimum requirements, and it said no jingle, no Jack. So, so we said, okay, fine, we'll come up with something different.
Well, I said I would myself and Liv Ortiz can decide which one was better.
Which is pretty good. Well, we'll print the albums and start sending them out to everybody. They'll be on shelves of every Tower Records and Blockbuster. No, wait. So, Jack, let's get into it. 2 matches in the Pac-4. Let's talk about some players first, and we'll talk a little more about Australia and going into Canada. Especially the younger players. A good number of caps are handed out against the Black Ferns. 6 debutants, if I counted correctly. Clearly veterans like Hope Rogers, they did the usual things. But when you talk about that Black Ferns match, what do young players get from their first taste in a match like that? The up and down, the tale of 2 halves.
Yeah, first of all, I think they got a bit of belief. I think it's an honor to get your first cap. I got a great front row seat to watch it, although we were kind of protecting the laptops from the rain and the coaching tent as opposed to coaching box we were trying to hang on to. So it was quite the ending to the night, and just ask Australia and Canada as well that followed us. What they get an opportunity to play against one of the best teams in the world as a first level, to kind of say, hey, welcome to the show. It's a quick one, the emotion of being named, the understanding about what we're trying to achieve on the field, to then lead into playing the game, rushing out of there because of lightning, getting back to the hotel, doing a jersey or doing a cap presentation. I can only imagine, it was my first game, and I had tons of feelings and emotions the whole way through. It's you can only imagine when an athlete then has to go out and try and produce. But for us, it gave us I think it's such a leveler, whether you're Hope Rogers or you're Hope Cooper and you're the most captor, or now you've got, Hope is keeps treading up the numbers, and our 6 debutants had not a number of caps, a letter of caps, a cap, and but everybody was on the same page. And when we got off the field, we obviously celebrated the moment of the debutants, but actually, I'd say the overriding emotion was that, okay, we want more, and that, I think, is probably the biggest win out of the game. Where the athletes, they felt really confident and comfortable at halftime, not fearful of don't, let's make sure that we do this right. But we got a lot of things wrong in that game, but it was because we were trying to get things right. And that's good. I think my biggest fear is that we'd get off, and I said this loads of times after the game, but we get off the field at full time and everyone would look at each other going we had no idea what to do there and look kind of clueless. But I really don't think they felt like that. But I think it was definitely a step forward with it. But what a time to get your first cap against the most famous women's rugby team in history. Your first cap facing the Haka, it's a pretty special thing at home. You can't really write those things.
All right. Well, speaking of first caps and how big it is against, the number one, New Zealand rugby, that kind of thing. Let's talk about a couple of these players specifically. Bella Vogel, 19 years old, thrown both feet in the fire. Which an interesting story with her, and correct me if I'm wrong, if she wasn't with the Eagles, she would have been playing with Life earlier in that day.
100%.
Their national championship. So she had that decision to make, right? College side or Eagles. And clearly making the right decision. I'm sure her teammates are 100% behind her. But let's talk about her for a minute. I mean, what did you see in her in camps and everything else? Because she's clearly not playing like a 19-year-old player.
No, and it's funny. I had a journalist that I would have known over the years who said to me, when we're going in, are you going to put somebody as someone experienced that's been there before 10? Are you going to do a jack thing where you throw somebody to straight into the fire? And I was a bit and I said, I didn't realize that that's a jack thing. But for me, and it's not just Bella, but it's the others too. Rick, who took over the captaincy, has done a great job, but she had spoken about like the hardest thing was to get on the squad, be part of the 32, and then everybody, whether you had a huge amount of caps or 0 caps, that you're Eagles now, and your job is to perform like that at training, and that's what we did. Like we obviously you have to take that bit of emotion into it, but we had good options in that position, but we wanted to go with Bella because it felt right, and like, don't get me wrong, the girl was looking for rucks in that game. Like, I think her ruck count was higher than some of our back row, which wasn't an insult to the back row. Like, it was just, and it's not a criticism or anything. It's just like it's where things naturally fill in, and it allowed us to get that, because like, why would she have known what to do naturally until you go and you experience it? And I remember an athlete challenged me a long time ago where I said, listen, I just don't think, you're ready for this level, but this was years ago with a different team. And the athlete go, how do you know if I'm ready if you don't put me in there? And it was one of the greatest challenges I've ever had as a coach. And I did not have an answer. And to be fair, it resulted in giving younger athletes an opportunity, because we need to know by putting them in. And I think it's a great thing that we did. And I think what I'm probably most happy with is that we gave her another go. And I think everybody saw just what a calm and collected performance from her it was in that second game against Australia.
Yeah, and staying on Bella there for a second, and you brought up the Australia match there again. She's 19 years old. Playing with poise beyond her age there. I mean, I think she finished 4 for 4 on the conversions. I think what Bill and I were most impressed with was, again, using that word poise there, just the way she was kind of orchestrating the back line. One, the fact that she led the team nearly in ruck arrivals. It's like, maybe that's probably not part of the game plan, but obviously it suggests that she's looking for action, which you love. But given that she's still only just 19, and you mentioned a lot of options there at the 10 shirt here, I got to imagine you're feeling right about what the future looks like for that 10 jersey going in, as you get further into this World Cup cycle.
I think we all have to be excited by it. And I think, like, for me, the performance was really important, both against New Zealand and Australia. But a win is like, it does drive you. It gives you that extra boost forward. So, like, not only is, Bella someone that's now had 2 caps, she's now won 50% of her international appearances. It's a good stat. And it's one of those things that we were playing against a country that are higher ranked than us. So like you're not playing against a team that you're sitting there going like, oh, this is an easy win. Let's give her the chance to wear the Eagles logo. Like, we've played against 2 teams that are higher ranked. We'll now play against a 3rd team that are higher ranked. And I just, like, getting the opportunity. I've said this to you guys before when I was last on about, like, the Pac 4 isn't the World Cup. So, like, are we looking at athletes to say, like, okay, if you didn't perform at the level that we want you to, do you give it to somebody else? Do you just, like, do we rotate, or do we allow combinations and athletes to problem solve? And there's no wrong answer there, but I'm really happy that we as a squad, like, kind of allowed things to be fixed by a lot of players, and I think, honestly, I think we saw the rewards of that in the Australia game, and yeah, let's get excited by it. But listen, it's not always going to be sunshine and rainbows, and like, Bella at some stage will make a big error like any other international 10 or quarterback or whatever you want to list it as, like everybody else will. But to get the win, I think, was just it's a great moment, not just for those athletes on 1 to 2 caps, but I think for the group, because we've tried a lot of new things, and I think it certainly gets a bit of buy-in for what we're trying to do.
And maybe
Go ahead. Well, I was going to say something probably off topic here as far as our conversation goes, but us 3 on the show don't have this issue. I don't know how she plays with the amazing hair she has.
Yeah, I think one of the reasons why we're confident with these athletes to be able to wear the logo and represent the Eagles is like the confidence that they came in with. Like we were doing a bit of a team bonding session, and Bella wasn't shy to speak, take over, laugh, joke, and that's the same with Abs. It's the same with the Woods twins, like, and I can go on, and I think that's a really cool thing, and I have to give a lot of credit for we'll call our experienced athletes, like they're happy for no matter how many caps you have to your name, for people to have a voice, and I think that's great, and like, again, there will be more challenges, but people bought into the selection, which is tough to do too. Like, but people just bought in and said, "Yeah, okay, this is the plan. Let's give it a go." And I think that's really a credit to the athletes and who they are.
One thing I want to talk about also, actually, Fitzy, why don't you take this next section as I dip out just for a second. Sorry, I just got distracted. We want to talk to you about Miss Humphries there as well. I think she's had a great match, and but take it, Fitzy.
Yeah, no problem. Yeah, I think the biggest thing there, a couple questions on her, is just she obviously made a name for herself in the Sevens circuit, but proving she belongs in the 15s game as well. I think that the thing that stood out was probably that call it a goal line hero, if you will, that second half interception against New Zealand. Again, showing defensive grit all match. Another stout defensive effort there against Australia, really taking a momentum away from them with that clean break there. Your thoughts just on her performance and where you see her development?
Yeah, Han pronouns they them, so I'll throw us in, and it's been great to be able to learn about each individual. So Han came straight from the Sevens to our domestic camp, and they had obviously cross sport where played hockey at Dartmouth, and then was essentially played rugby at Dartmouth, and then moved over to the Seventh. And had the opportunity. I'd seen Han play Sevens, and then had the opportunity to invite Han into our domestic camp, and I just thought this ability to just work rate beyond belief, and Han will be very open about not knowing a huge ton about the 15s game and still learning about rugby in general, like any other cross sport athlete. The amount that Han has learned is incredible, but it's not just learn. It's like how someone so quickly can learn to then just do. And I in speaking with Shabbat, who obviously we all know, but Shabbat had basically said, I don't know if someone had such a massive impact in their debut, like Han did in that first, to be an immediate impact, and we're missing, Kate Zachary in that back row, and obviously we do miss Kate in the environment. It was great having Kate do our jersey press last week, but to be able to have a back row that could live up and get a win, but also compete and poach against a team like the Ferns was so big. But I think Han's ceiling is absolutely massive, and I think it shows the benefits of being able to be part of the Sevens program and the 15s program. We talk a lot about the PWR, but to be able to work with Emily with the Sevens in terms of athletes that are coming across, because it's not just Han, it's also Cass, and it's also most recently Tessa Han, who's now come over to get some game experience, and Tessa had a huge impact off the bench last week as well. So I think that's I spoke to you guys before about making Eagles solutions for America problems, but that to me is this isn't a problem. This is using the amazing stuff that we already have domestically, and I think the ceiling for Han is absolutely massive. I hope.
Nice.
Speaking a little bit more about the win over Australia, is it safe to say, maybe particularly with the younger players that maybe got their capped or their first couple, is it safe to say getting those nerves out of the way against how they played against the Black Ferns, did that help those players perform well when they played the Wallaroos?
It certainly helps my nerves. Like it's amazing how, like I've told you this before, this is such a, having this job is an incredible honor.
Yeah.
It's amazing how sports fan you become when the ball kicks off. You're just like, catch it, pass it, run it, tackle, like whatever. Like it's just so you almost become unreasonable for a few minutes with nerves as a coach. Like, don't go on the radio and say the most simple things. I think all of us were trying to suss it out a little bit. I think the first half gave us massive confidence. But then when we did the analysis of that second half, and in particular, we're really disappointed with how we performed, actually probably in both games, when the opposition are down a player. Like, we've conceded rather than living on top and continuing with momentum. So I think the one of the biggest confidence was, yes, we performed significantly well. There was a lot of plus points in that first half, but then it was the kind of stuff that we can get right in a week, which is probably the thing that drove us a little bit last week. Was like, okay, this were opportunities from 0 to 2 phases where if we do like our skills roles, our functional roles, that we will maintain possession for a couple more phases. Because my whole thing is, we don't know how good we are unless we can maintain possession. So I don't know if my attack is good enough for you all as athletes and as a team, unless we do the basic things of ball presentation, of body height and contact, of post contact meters, which is kind of something that has been a big part of the USA DNA over the last number of years. So to expand, we can't lose the DNA from that physical mindset. But we were going into the Australia game, I think, pretty confident, and even like the roller coaster of a day, it could be a book in itself. Like, it was incredible. I've never had to deal with a day like that. But it was just everybody so okay. Like it, and that's the way we want to. That's one of our values is, and one of our things about how we want to play is just say yes. So like, yes, and okay. So here's the information. We mightn't play today. Yes, and what's next? Okay,
it's very improvisational. That's like
it's literally what we're doing. It's the first, we call it that at times on the rugby field we have to be improv. We have to be improv. Yes, and it's not, and it's the difference between responding versus reacting to things. So okay, here's what it's out in front. Can we stay calm as a staff as well? And then what do we respond? How do we get ready? So,
and how does that? I mean, it's clear. I mean, you have this positive energy to you. We've felt in these interviews. You know, coming off of that second half against the Black Ferns, for what you just said about the team. Go, okay, all right, let's put that behind us. Let's learn from it. Let's get ready for Australia. I mean, I don't know. I've been involved in a few of those matches over the years where you leave that pitch, you're like, oh, I don't want to play next weekend, that kind of thing. But I mean, who's responsible for that tide? Is it the veterans? Is it the staff? How do you get their heads back into it? Or is it just a great group that's like, they know, okay, we can beat Australia. We've done it before, and they're going to ride that wave into Canada.
I think there's nobody one that you can, like, we've gone through our values and we go through them every day, and that's very, like, I feel like that's very corporate speak. But like, I like personally, from my own philosophy, is like, you can put values on the wall, but you got to live them. But also you've got to be very open to when you don't live them. So we do visit that on a regular basis, and we do have to find joy. So like, with someone not being selected for the match day 2023 against New Zealand, maybe someone has been selected that's getting their first cap. So although you are struggling yourself, you've also got to celebrate that joy, or else this is going to be a really long process. When we got off to New Zealand, when we're in the locker room, there's people really upset. There's people really upset, and that to me was a win, because if we were sitting there with pure joy, that's not what high performance sport is, because we've lost a game.
Yeah.
So we were able to get moments of joy. We were able to celebrate the first gasp, but also we were able to live there and say, okay, well, one of our values is also excellence, and we didn't achieve that in certain aspects of the games. Then we had to review it. We're trying everything. Like there's some people that are analytical learners. There's some that are visual. There are some through by doing. Like, we're trying to do it all, and that's hard. But we're trying to get to know each other, and I think that's really helped. But for me, I think it does really feel like a we. Like, it does. And I think when we have a bad session, we're all pretty upset with it. But we also have to have the ability that, like, if we have a bad session and people are walking around kind of like walking on eggshells, okay, well, last week we had a bad session. We were in Kansas, we were walking on eggshells. So we went and got barbecue and we played Family Feud before we left. Like, because at the end of the day, like, we can live in that, or we can park it, recharge, get to know each other again, spill our barbecue sauce on our white t-shirts, and then play Family Feud, have a bit of a laugh, call each other out, and then kind of get back to work. Because, like, I don't know how we can be on all the time. So if we can name it, decide that, okay, this is what we have to focus on, but then we actually get to recharge, whatever that looks like, and then as soon as we get back, that we know what we have to try and achieve. And that to me is very much a we. And I couldn't say, oh, the staff are leading it, but the staff are part of it. I couldn't say that the veterans are leading it, because the veterans are part of it. And I couldn't say that it's the new energy, because I think it's just us, to be honest.
Let me ask about one more player before we move on to this weekend's match. Alev Kelter. Obviously, where the positions they normally play in club is different than international level, and you have her at fullback. Explain to us your decision on putting her at fullback. Is it giving her more room to use her strong boot to widen the field, or maybe give her an extra 20 meters to batter the defenders, get her a head start? That thought process with her back there, which I think is working out great.
Yeah, it's funny. It's probably like, I probably got Bella was certainly an interesting pick for some people, but like Alev was also an interesting pick at fullback. She hadn't played there internationally since 2014, I think.
Wow, yeah.
2018 maybe. And it's, I just aged her. And like, for me, Alev is performing well in the PWR Centre, like you've mentioned. It's a team profile thing. Like, yeah, it's great having someone with a boot there. It's great having someone that can insert herself in the game I would say, like, she's got an ability for that, as you said, John, for like the improv bit. Like, she's got the opportunity to kind of just have a look at things and insert herself, which, I mean, we've all watched Alev for a long time. Like, when she does have that freedom, I think she's at her best. I've really enjoyed her back there. I actually think she had it's funny because, like, we all know Alev of these huge, big moments. And she had a couple of those big moments probably in both games where she's still beating defenders, which is a very natural thing for her. But I actually thought she had a really collective professional performance last week. And I thought it was great. Yeah. But it's something a little bit different because of I'd say the team profile of what we have. Katana Howard is playing particularly well in Sale. I think having her boot has been really beneficial. I think she had a great game again last week. But M Hen has been a real natural 13. And for me, M Hen has always been a really, really good defender. But I really think her attacking game has started to grow here, and I think she's showing it, which is exciting me, because I think there's tons of potential. There's tons of growth there as well. So for us, it's a little bit about team balance, but also for the individual herself. And I think she's enjoying it back there. I think just at some stages she's like, okay, I haven't been involved, so I better run in there. But it's what suits the Eagles most. And that's why we're doing it. And some of these experiences aren't going to work. And it's, I'm sure, I don't know whether you would have invited me if we didn't beat Australia, but it is nice to talk about these. But also, we need to be aware and be okay with some of these experiments not working as well, and that's all part of this 4-year thing.
Well, let's look ahead. So we got this Friday, Canada, the rivals up north, final round of the Pac-4, SeatGeek Stadium in Chicago. One, it's awesome that the women's Eagles have been able to have home matches. Historically, that's been a little bit of a challenge the past few years. Maybe it would have been nice if you had your debut away from the U.S., but we're happy that the women's Eagles had 3 here in the U.S. Hopefully no tornado warnings or lightning strikes, maybe a plague of locusts or something like that this time, but hopefully not. But moving on from that, any momentum from the win over Australia you may have heading into Canada this week, knowing just that it is such a strong rivalry. Canada has been such a strong side of the last few years. maybe a little higher level of confidence going into Chicago this weekend?
Yeah, I think momentum is big. Like, first of all, being at home has been amazing. And like, we were on the field. We kicked off last Friday and we finished on Saturday. Like, my press conference started at 2 a.m. Like, that's that at the stadium. Rick was still in her full kit. The fans there stayed the entire time. Like, there's definitely people that couldn't get to the game due to the tornado warning, but like, we still had an atmosphere, and when we were warming up, like, you could feel it. The energy was brilliant, and the athletes, you could feel just like the energy there too, and it was, and we were like, the only way we could get the game on is if both teams had agreed to shorten their warm up. So like, we're in what we called it the bunker. So it was like our staff were meeting to try and change some things to make sure that this could all happen, but it was also that it was still safe. We had a brilliant warm up, and our analysis afterwards was, we need to keep a lot of what we did in that warm up because of how good it was. Like, that's like the response versus the reaction. Canada are a brilliant side. And when you watch that game, if you just looked at the results, you would go, okay, New Zealand, like, yeah, really dominated Canada. But like, I think for those that watched it would go, okay, they got away in the last 15 minutes. There was some really good rugby by both sides, and we have to elevate if we're going to compete with Canada. But the momentum, for sure, like this team were begging for a win, and they were begging for a win against a team above them in the rankings, which is what we achieved last weekend. So that's massive. And it came early. Like, it feels like this is like great. Like, we can start momentum a little bit earlier. But yes, this is a rivalry. But more importantly, we're playing against the team that won a silver medal at last year's World Cup. We didn't get to the knockout stages. So we will get an opportunity to play against like 2 out of 3 teams that were on the podium at the World Cup. Like, that's pretty great stress test for us at the moment. Pretty good check-in. But like, they're a brilliant side, and they didn't become, because of that result, I know how good they are, probably more than most. I know how detailed they are, and this will be another level up. So yes, let's enjoy the momentum, and let's make sure we have joy in that win. But the excellence value is going to have to be lived this week, and we have to be better.
Oh, it's been one of these shows, Jack, where it's just we've been distracted. When I say we, I mean I have been. I'm playing World anyway. Let's talk about one specific player with Canada, Jack. You know, obviously, Justine Pelletier is a phenomenal player. Is that role of containing her, to shut her down, more of a number 9's job, maybe Bella's job, number 10, whoever's playing number 10? I mean, how, as a coach, do you approach playing against a player like her?
I mean, I know her pretty well as well. I coached her at both 7s and 15s. I would say not only is she an incredible rugby player, she's a really intelligent rugby player. Yeah. She's got her finger on the pulse. She's a really, really good leader. I've seen her lead for club and country and for province, actually, now that I think of it. And she's got it on an incredible mind around the game. You got to stop the heartbeat. They have an incredible roster. If you focus on one too much, someone else will appear. So you can almost overanalyze it. They like to play really, really fast. If we are going to compete with this Canadian team, we have to slow down the ball. And they like to offload. If Justine has made a line break, anybody will go in and be the first receiver, or pass the ball off the deck, or pop it off the deck. Like, they play a really, really fast brand of rugby. So if we keep going backwards, we'll concede points. It's like, and that is a very obvious thing. And all except one team in last year's Rugby World Cup, and even the Ferns, who are, there's never a bad Ferns team, couldn't live with that speed in the semi-final. So like, we have to try and slow that down. And like, we do little bits of analysis about how certain individuals play, but at this stage, we really want to focus on us, and yet we want to talk about how we can slow down them as a collective, but also what can we as a group and individuals do better to also make sure that we're playing our game rather than letting any opposition dictate the speed of play.
Jack, your first tournament with as Eagles head coach wraps up, obviously, after this weekend. What's been your experience so far with the Eagles, with the USA Rugby, and also what's in the docket for you? You're going to take some time off? Are you allowed to?
It is awkward when, and I know like so many people across this country, rugby is their hobby. So it's like when they get the job done, they're off to a park with their boots, cleats, and a bag, and then the whistle's there. They might be doing their session plan when they're supposed to be doing spreadsheets. I've so much respect for that. My hobby is also rugby. So, like, last week to relax before the game, I got up just like all the athletes did, and we watched the Six Nations. Like, it's a fun thing to do. I want to go around. I'm going back to San Diego afterwards, and then I've got 2 or 3 trips booked for the WER to go and have a watch. I want to get to some Talent ID events, which is it's just great to have a look. I think it's important to identify athletes, but it's also, I think, just important for people to know that we're there, we're watching, and we are interested in it, and hopefully get people excited by it. It's been great to travel around. We've had coaches from the WER, we've had coaches from clubs and colleges come and watch our sessions, and it's not like, hey, what we do is correct, but it's like, hey, let's have a chat and show them the session plan, and like, I'd urge, if anyone does want to have a chat about it, like I do enjoy doing that. I'm not saying what I say is correct, but sometimes it's nice to know what you're looking for on a Friday night or a Saturday, and like, it was nice to do that last week in Kansas, because I showed kind of our training session, what we're trying to achieve, and then on Friday it came to life. Maybe the people that were there the week before kind of went, well, he said he wasn't going to do anything like this, but that's okay too, because then it also knows, like, oh, what a coach might be happy with, or what might be happy with, or what the environment might be happy with. So yeah, I'm off to WER, and then like we have a quick turnaround because we have a 2-match series against South Africa. So I'll have to watch some of the PWRs that ends up, some of the Elite One, the AIL just finished. Like, there's so much rugby that's going on, which is great, but there's a lot of activity happening with our U20s. And with the Falcons also having a tour this year as well. So lots of rugby. I'm not saying I have to be at everything, but I love being at everything. But we want to try and make sure that we're growing the base as much as possible, because we'll need a stronghold of 50 athletes. And, if people are wondering how they become an Eagle, it's not a one straight shot here. Go play rugby, make sure we know about it. And then the great thing about the US rugby community is that people are pretty tight. Like, you can make 2 phone calls on an athlete pretty quick, and you'll get how they are as an athlete, or they are as a team person. And if people want to be an Eagle at the moment, get to the WER and be the best player on the field. It's a good start.
You have me hungry after you mentioned Kansas City barbecue, which is fantastic barbecue.
We did dabble, and it was great.
Yeah. I was going to ask you a question like who consumed the most brisket, but let's not go there.
But I think the poor restaurant were a bit like, oh, this is not usual for our sports day. And so we were like, yeah, keep the brisket coming. So it was great. And like, now, being in the middle of Chicago, like, the staff got the chance to go watch the Cubs last night, which was nice. A ton of fun. And it's been great to like be in such different spots. And celebrate all these different spots, because there's a lot to celebrate around here, and every place we've gone, there's been a new energy of welcoming, and so I'm hoping that'll come about on Friday night too.
That's awesome. Well, Jack, thanks again for joining us. Good luck this weekend, and we'll get you back on again in a few months.
Yeah, twice. I feel very privileged and lucky. And send me that June so I can stick it in the jersey press for sure.
Got it, man. All right, have a good night, and enjoy Chicago.
Thanks, folks.
Cheers. All right. Always fun talking to him. He's a joy. I like him.
Yes, and I'm rolling with that.
You're rolling with what?
I'm rolling with yes and.
Yes, and
So like
true.
Friday night when someone's like, John, you want another beer? Yes and.
Yes, and yes, and. No, I seriously am hungry. Thanks, Fitzy. That was fun. We need to jump off now because I've clearly messed up like 8 times in this episode. I don't know what's been going on. maybe because we're recording during the middle of the day and I haven't had a drink while doing it. But John Fitzpatrick, thank you so much. Good work, listeners. Viewers, thank you so much for tuning in. Please tune in again for the next show, and also like, follow, and subscribe to this podcast. Leave us some nice reviews. Cheers, everybody. See you next time.